I am very above and beyond surprised. I don't know why these filters making me look like a cute face. Come on, man, I don't need some cute face here. That my let it rot and lying flat videos has gone 250 views, and I wasn't doing anything special or anything, just discussing about lying flat and let it rot. I believe a lot of people wanting to know about this topic, or many people who doesn't make this kind of content unless you are like those who are Chinese expert websites or YouTubers who make this sort of content, all right, that is getting views and things like that. But the topic that now I'm going to elaborate a bit more, all right, and why it's a really big thing in China, and as well I'll try to elaborate it in comparison in the Western world. China is like hypergamy society. It's high socioeconomic society, and that's what the you affiliated with, and that's where the Communist Party and everything is, makes it even stronger. And that's why there's a reason why the social credits even makes more sense in China, because that's the environment and that's how they are brought up. Because you gotta affiliate whatever you're surrounding, right? My parents always tell me, always affiliate people who are smarter, educated, wealthier than you, all right? Always. My dad always get upset with me when I affiliate with I think it's the right word or not. I'll have to get it read right. It's the cultural hierarchy, the country hierarchies, right? Once you have the country, I'm pretty sure there's a proper way of saying it. It's like there's a hierarchy system in China that you affiliate it even more, right? The poor countries, 穷国家, that's what Chinese poor countries that we do not affiliate with, we look down upon, is whether we beaten them in war or generally they are below us. And that usually is Southeast Asia, those who are not highly intellectual, and as well we look up to those who are Europe and, you know, Japan, even though we don't like it, but they're very intelligent, smart, in America, right? And Western countries. Other than that, we look down, all right? Our culture is always thinks that they're always the smartest, and other society or other cultures or civilization or the way how they brought, I can't say civilization, that's a big word. It's saying that they are very lazy. Man, this taxi is making me slow. Lazy, not switched on, and not that street smart. So these are the words that as a child it's always ingrained in my brain, but I never understood the meaning. Sorry, I have to do this. Alright, I have to turn. So Qiang means rob. Linghuo means like you gotta be switched on, right? 奋斗起来, I believe that word, even though I try to do Google Translate, it doesn't translate much, but it's like I think it believe it's like never give up, but always stand up, always hustler. I think it's the word hustler. 狡猾, 灵活, 狡猾, street smart, alright? And those are the keywords that I know on top of my mind, right? Those are very, very strong words, right? That as the ABC, Australian-born Chinese or American-born Chinese, or those who are born outside of mainland, their parents taught them like that because our parents has gone through the Cultural Revolution as well, right? So they went through all the hardship, but they went out. And there's a reason why that they are so successful in buying houses left, right, and center out in the country, right? Because in the lying flat and let it rot, buying a house is not necessarily a house, it's an apartment, right? They'll talk about 150 square meter or less than 100 square meter, right? And it costs a fortune. There are other countries, for example, like where I am, in Australia, there's a millionaire visa. I don't know if it's still on nowadays. You bring a couple $1 million and you can get a permanent residency on the spot, right? So, and plus with the social credit, what does it mean by that is the fact that the social credit it works a lot more better on China because it's gravity towards to affiliate with the high social economic status peers, and as well it's a hypergamy society, because you have to think of a big picture of China. You have to feed the 3 generation, right? Let's just say me and you, we get married, we have 1 child, right? Because the 2nd and 3rd child policy just released a couple of years ago. I'm not going to include that, all right? So you look at the triangle and you turn it upside down, you flip it upside down. So my grandchild, let's just say Billy is of mum and dad, which is me and you. Then I gotta feed the 4 of the grandparents, right? So my grandparents and your grandparents. So the reason why Chinese are very, very rich is because of the 4 grandparents and down to me and you, wealth, and try their best as much as they can pour down on the grandchildren, Billy, right? They have the best food, they have the best everything, but who would have thought that the words that I mentioned before, the Chinese words, that it has gone overblown. Everyone is street smart, everyone is 强灵活奋斗起来 and whatever it is up there, they can't do outsmart in their region. They go in other countries, such as going to what's that word, around the world, buying houses, hustlers. That's why your area the inflation is going up, or the houses, all right, and everything. I can't say inflation, but the houses going up. So that's not the way how it is. And you know, we pour the best of the resources on Billy. So the best food. So they go to your country, you have the best of the best, all right? Maybe you have the best lobster, you have the best wine, you have the best cheese, or the best milk powder, or etc, etc, etc. You guys kind of understand the cheese. So this is the environment that let it rot and lying flat. Now, the own citizens in the mainland, the kids, right? They are spoiled, right? Because all the generation wealth has poured down on Billy, right? Billy is now, it's like never seen hardship, and the way how it been raised is like they're giving them the best life. They don't allow them to do mistakes, and they expected them as they get older, they hustle a bit more money. So the reason why it's a hypergamy society, and this is something that should be focused on the Western world, to be honest. I know only the country that I know on top of my mind right now is Singapore. The skilled migrant, the highly intellectual, they only accept that sort of migrant in. In Australia, we only accepted those who has a shortage of skill, the sector that we bring them in. But in Singapore, if you want to get a long-term visa, or I don't know what sort of visa they have, if you're very, very skilled, highly intellectual, like engineer or whatever, IT or blah 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 blah, all right, it's a very forward. But in Australia, you have like that, you bring like that, all right. So I don't know why I'm blabbing on that, but the way how I look at it now is the society is thinking of that way. Then you kind of understand. Now this kid is being brought up, and as he gets older, they're like, shit, the houses cost so much money. Like, my parents taught me of all this tutoring or X, Y, and Z, like give me the best of the food. I have no social life or anything. But when I'm gonna get married, shit, I have to prove that you know, before you get married to a woman, in China, a woman, they're very selective. Is, you know, the ratio, as you guys already know, right? I'm not going to explain the full story, but like, if you're going to entering the marriage market, at least you gotta have 1 house, at least, under your name. But you got more than 1 billion people in China is competing with the girls, so they have to get. It's not married for love; it's married for survival, or you know, who has more assets. And one more thing about China is 面子. 面子means image. Image is like highly regards, right? It's like a way of me saying to you, show off of all the vanity that you have. It's like me saying to you, if you're in the animal kingdom, you have a house, you have a boat, you have this, you have that, you have a lot of houses, like, but over there they brag about it, they show off, and that's how they attract their fuck, I don't know what's that word, but like the opposite sex, right? And that is the way how it was back in the days, where where I only speak on parts of countries in Africa, right? If the father is going to marry out their daughter, you have to give me I don't know, I'm just saying, like a couple of cows and goats and flocks of chickens and money as well, or gold. But if there wasn't involving money, this and that, then I'll hand my daughter to you, right? But in China it's different. You have that, you have all the houses and everything, and those houses cost too much, so that's why they go out elsewhere. They get a PR, permanent residency, and plus their kids will be growing up in the Western world, right? so you got like that, right? So you got like, it's a high pressure on that individual, right? And the reason why the lying flat is like, well, you got to do better than what your parents did, because it's a hypergamy. You got to marry up or whatever. But the problem with China, the way how it is that, yeah, you can make a salary, or you can build a, like, the only way to make big money is like if you earn successful business, so businessmen. And that's why you hear like like a big thing in China. There's like, man, the Western world thinking side chicks is the way to go, man. Side chicks and everything, or second wives and everything like that in China is bigger. It's a bigger scene than the Western world trying to brag about their side chicks and everything. It's a highly respected, highly regards, right? So it's like a holy thing over there. And if you have like that sort of power, you've drawn to it. But not everyone is like that. And this is where it becomes the letter rot and lying flat. No matter how hard the individual works, they can't even pay off the mortgage, monthly mortgage, or buy a house, because they could get into the market of the house because of the social credit, but to try to pay it off with that impossible amount, man, it's going to take more than 3 generations to pay off that house. And then not at the end of the day, well, I don't think the people over there to really care. You only have a 99-year lease on that house, that regardless when you buy it. So you get that back of the head. But there's always a way to work around with it. If the government is allowed to extend the contract and you pay extra money, whatever, with the 99-year lease or whatever. So everything there, it's like that. And many of the citizens who graduated will see like, shit, what my parents didn't taught me about real life. They taught me to hustle hard, study hard, marry up. But in real life scenario, they are not mentally prepared, because they are too spoiled. They haven't gained the skills and everything. And this is where it becomes problematic. And not only just that, but money as well. Your husband and wife is working, and this is where it becomes like, no matter how much they work, they can't raise a kid in a very good area or properly, and they don't have that means, right? And as well, you gotta, if you're a city person, you gotta behave like a city person. You can't just marry down to a countryside or third-tier city. They're looked down upon. If you're from a first-tier city, you're married to a first-tier city. So many of those who are born and brought up in a first-tier city, many of the job has been weaved out by the countryside or the third-tier city, or like outer suburbs, because they'll work for any money, because the money to them that brings back to their country, the countryside or the mountain tiers or the poor farming state, the cities, that it brings them a luxurious lifestyle. So they are hustlers, right? True-born hustlers. They're not like highly educated people, but they hustle, they're street smart, they rob, they do X, Y, and Z to get in ahead, and now they start to get mians as well. But the highly educated people are not getting that, or what they wanted. So this is why I say the lying flat and this is spoiled. But those who are the countryside and the third-tier cities, they're climbing the ladder day by day. That the local first-tier people cannot compete, because they are too spoiled and rich, even though they are spoiling the next generation. So this is why I said it becomes a huge effect upon. Now, I'm not saying everything is good or bad about China. That's the way how it works. But the Western world, what we see now is that if there's a bit of hardship, many of us will not find a way to hustle it out, many of us, because it's a very, very, in China, you have to be in the first tier to get like free medical. Like, medical is not free, and it costs you an arm and a leg. people left to dead on the corner of the bloody hospitals. They don't really care unless if you're like a first tier or whatever, you have a privilege. But like in Australia or welfare country, great like Canada, New Zealand, or Britain or X, Y, and Z, many of the citizens cannot work properly because they know that the government have their back, have their ass, you know what I'm saying, to work them out. So when you have like that, and now they become like, well, if the cost of living is going up, I'm not going to hustle hard. Many of us don't want to work more than 38 hours a week. Many from us don't want to work on the weekends. Many of us who like, you know, there's too high taxes, and we don't want to hustle, and we become minimalization society now, because we don't want to get married, or don't have to have kids, or it's okay to play video games all day, which is China at the moment is cracking down so hard. All right, they're trying to have a normal functionality. It's become dysfunctional the way how society in the Western world is. And this is the reason why I said migrants, newly arrived migrants, whether it's refugees or whatever, or skilled migrants will uphold the country, and in the cycle resets all the time, because they're hustlers, right? They use the formula that the Chinese will use: rob, you know, 灵活, you be street smart, you be switched on, and this and that. They'll hustle. They start from the bottom and you know, to go work their way up. But many of us, they don't want to. Many of the where we born, we want a 60k, 80k job on the spot. We're not working anything less. I'm above and beyond those people who just arrived to the country. But little they know, they're hustlers. They're more even aggressive at working. So you have that notion on the side, and that's why I said the letter rot and lying flat is they realize no matter how much they work, no matter how much they've been praised, it's like they see it's dysfunction. They know it's not working out, and no matter how much they work, it's a never-ending cycle. It's like never endless of a rat race on where it becomes. Well, in the Western world, or where we currently live in, we slowly got to be turning like that. If the food price is going to be skyrocketing and the amount of money that we're earning is not going to be enough for it, sooner or later it's going to be like that. We're just going to give up even easier than those over there. But I'll just give you guys a bigger picture of what's it be like. I'm trying to think, is there any other more? I just have 5 or 10 seconds silence to think about it. Before I do that, I'll just show you guys the road better. Gosh, I can't even think, to be honest. Did I left something before I end the video? See, many of my videos, I never scripted as much. I usually have a bit of like bullet points, but recently with my work, I don't bullet point. I like to do off script. The major problem with the let it rot trend and lying flat is that many of those kids' generation has been studied abroad, and they've seen the different, they learned the different experience and different view from a different corner of the world, and they started to stand up to be rebels against their the concept, and it is a big threat on the Communist Party, which many of the government, as you can see, they're clamping the parents to you know, to make it difficult or make it unappealing for those to send their kids out abroad to study. Many who did not went abroad back in the days when they went to abroad and go to Oxford or whatever, Harvard or whatever the university and name drop, when they go back to the country, they get a job easy because the applicant is easier. But now the job market in China, they don't look at that anymore, because you've left the country, for example, in 2017, and you're coming back on 2021 or 2022. You're bringing the you've been gone. You've left the China that was 2017. So basically, you're outdated for 4 or 5 years, where the own citizen has been keeping up, been hustling, been adjusting, and moved, adapt, and with the society, right? And China right now at the moment is a very, very, very good the way how they what's that word? Jeez, I got 40 minutes. Can I get to Hills training? Bloody hell! I just realized I'm making this video. Oh, actually, I've got more than 50 minutes. You should get to that way. So now the spoiled kids and things like that, like they wanted to extend their stay in abroad studies, whether they fail, whether they pass, or X, Y, and Z. They want to stay longer because they know that by the time they return back to their country, they know that they have to submit to what their parents has forced upon them, that has been spending any penny on them since day one they were being born. So it's like a burden. You're like an investment. Why are you like this? So, and that sort of word has spread out to their peers, and of course, as you know, internet has spelled people in a different way, has gone to that level, and that's why it has got affected upon, and this it made it even stronger for layingflat and the way how it goes. They just want to work minimal to live by day. That's what the current trend at the moment. I could see that at least they're doing something about it, like living minimal, at least better than the Western world. Like they'll give up. They're like, oh, I'll just go on a welfare state, So you got a different society, the way how it works, and at the end of the day, each country works differently, and that terrifies the Communist and the Chinese Party a lot more when the citizens like that, because that's the future generations that is gonna upbring the continuity on the China's growth. But if the youngsters are like that, one, there's gonna be less tax generating with their own welfare state or the country as well. But two, they're losing power. They're on decline. So it's a big threat at the moment. Now the Chinese government will do anything in their power they can to punish or banish or whatever they'll do on the citizens who's doing what they believe is like a curse or dysfunctionality. They'll try to tackle as much as you can, and that's why you come to my video and watch this, and that's why you watch like Ziya, Lao Y, or China Insights, or other YouTube Chinese channel, and emphasize that there's a huge threat at the moment, right? So last couple of days ago was, what is it? Was the anniversary. I don't know how many years it was for Hong Kong. I was when my parents just divorced. When I arrived in China, that's when Hong Kong was returned to mainland China at that particular time of year. And the year after that was Macau, and I was 1997. I don't know what date was, but when I was in China, I could see the huge thing, how it flourished and everything. Many things has been happening. Even the citizens of I've seen a lot of YouTube videos where even the own citizens in Hong Kong, the young bloods are leaving out of Hong Kong. Of course, it's a different reason, but they believe what's going on, because Hong Kong, the houses is extremely expensive. That right now only the mainland people can hustle, can play that game. Has weaved the own citizens out, and Hong Kong citizens to be outcasted out, kind of unaffordability. So the Western world at the moment, where we're going to head to, and with the biggest problem right now is we are entering an AI society, right? AI technology revolution, right? We are not in a technology revolution. We have surpassed it already, and in the Western world, we are going to see even more lying flats, but it's going to be welfare, even more welfare, because of when we're going to increase, and even China has the same issue as well. When they increase wages because the cost of living, everything is going up, companies are finding third-tier cities to cheaper labor to sustain the business. All right, but in the Western world, what we see now and what we see with the Labour government has increased the minimum wage 5% or whatever. The moment that you increase the wages is the moment that you increase more automation in many of the business holders. We can see self-serve kiosks. We got to see more cameras on our faces nowadays with many of the business who went to automation, and it's going to be less of us. It's going to be working. So what I'm trying to say here in conclusion of the entire video is that we're not far from it, right? We're not far from it at all. Like, we may have this car, we may have the luxury, but we cannot sustain that lifestyle because of the workload. And this is where it becomes even more popular. Even I make these videos in the past, but now it's just coming back with the UBI, Universal Basic Income. So you got that is going to be even more appealing than ever than before. Minimization is still going to continue. It's still going to rise. Many of us generations who doesn't want to get married, who doesn't want to have a house, who doesn't want to have any responsibility. I just stay in my parents' basement and play video games and this and that. So we do see a line what is going on between the Western world and especially the Western world. We're very heavy on the social welfare. All right, I make it clear, I'm very strong on the welfare system compared to the China. China is like, there's not much welfare, to be honest. There's barely nothing unless there's your retirement. So you got to contrast the whole thing about it. So when you go through like that, I think it's better if I just show it like that better. It's better for me to get more information now. It's better to contrast like that because we are not far from it, and it's going to get worse. And the social credit system in China is going to be like that. Social credit has been happening in our banking system at the moment. In order to get a loan or whatever, it's not going to be a very good outcome to see the way how it is, and the way how we heading to is going to brought many challenges and more dysfunctional. But the good thing about the Western world, we have non-stop migrant wave, where China is, they believe their own blood, like me. Han, is it a tribe? I don't know, the Han group, right? Me as a Han, we are majority of the China, the Han blood. We're the most superior. Chinese people believe that we are the most superior people among the rest of the people out there, countries out there. We're the most superior. So even though they don't have the skilled migrant or like the way how we have the crazy amount, it's gonna decline civilization, because many of the talented, the smart ones will weave out, or the 灵活, the 狡猾, the people will go out to other countries, and the Cantonese, we have to say one sec. It means those who are one sec is like knows how to hustle and knows how to put food on the table, even though they don't know the language, and they're only doing it and they're good at it. And that is something that to think about it, it's any of us citizens to think about it. Go to another foreign country, what sort of work can you do? How can you survive or sustain, or how can you hustle and make big money, this and that? It doesn't work that way. But those people are the most intelligent, robbing and this and that. They have fled another country and they make squillions of money. In the past history, we have seen what the people have especially in Indonesia, in history, Indonesians have seen that shit, Chinese people are making so much money, X, Y, and Z, and they're the first country in the world that execute Chinese people because they're too successful, they're too 狡猾, 灵活, hustlers, street smart, switched on people, outcompete the local people. Now, I know the wealthiest people in the Philippines are the Chinese people. So there's a lot of Southeast Asia, richest people are like that. I can speak one part, I don't know nowadays, but when I was in Peru in 2013, the most successful, the most high earning supermarket in Peru is called Wong Supermarket. Wong Supermarket is Chinese, and Chinese are the most successful running the supermarket business in Peru. So I'm pretty sure there's a lot more out there that I could discuss about around the world, but I don't have that knowledge. I'm pretty sure you guys will share down below even if you reach up to this level on 30 minutes. So I think I will finish up the video. I'm satisfied, but I was really surprised that I get 250 views. I don't do advertisement, I don't do anything. I speak on my mind. I don't have any script. I don't expect any views. I just like whatever the knowledge, and I gain knowledge and I spread it and elaborate it and add on top and make it more content and make myself even more knowledgeable, educated in my way, in my view, because I wasn't the smartest kid in school, unfortunately. Some people see my videos as philosophy. I'm very grateful when someone pinpoint that. I never thought that I would ever have that title in my life. I truly grateful to a few of the YouTubers that I look up to that made me and changed me, because I was a high school dropout. I'm dyslexic, ADHD. I was the lowest of the class, and out of nowhere people praise me as they view me as a philosophy or whatever.